Hey guys, it's xNira with another banner review, this time for the Choose Your Lessons banner. We're going to start off with Roy, the least type of the bunch. He's got the boringly named Blazing Durandal, which grants 3 attack, basically making his weapon a 19-might weapon. It also has a Heavy Blade passive built in, but it's not Heavy Blade 3, so instead of granting the reduced cooldown charge every attack in a round of combat, it only grants 1 reduced cooldown stack per round of combat. It also won't stack with his A skill. He also comes with Gale Force and a mix of Darting and Armored Blow and Desperation. So his weapon frees up his A slot, but still lets him keep a quick charge Gale Force or Ether or whatever other special you want to put on him. So he can run something like Fury or Deathblow or Life and Death for some really offensive sets, but still keep this reduced, the quick special. I think this is really interesting because he's going to bring kind of a new category of units to the Horse Emblem cast. So we've got, DC units like Xander and Camus, then we've got Reinhardt and other Blade Tome mages, and we don't really have that many kind of quick, hard-hitting Gale Force users. Flyer Emblem's got Heavy Blade, Gale Force, Firesweep, Lance, Cordelia, and I think he's going to play a similar role for Horse Emblem. Now, if the stats that appeared in the video are his neutral 5-star stats, then he's got pretty nice stats across the board, though his HP is a little low. He's got a lot of competition in red units, but because he has this new niche, I think he's going to be extremely solid. He's going to be the fastest mounted sword unit we've got, and he'll put in work. But unfortunately, in comparison to the rest of the banner, he does seem a little lackluster. Up next is Lyn, who's the only other unit to have her full stat page appear in the video. Mulagir provides 3 base speed, so her offensive stats come in at 33 attack and 35 speed. So while her raw stats don't quite compete with Brydelia, her ability to get horse buffs will ultimately give her greater damage capability than Brydelia, not to mention the extra mobility. To further add to her prowess, Mulagir also is going to neuter tome users by blocking their buffs, and with 28 res, she will likely be able to bait tome mages on the enemy phase. Bait blade tome mages on the enemy phase. Now, the phrasing of the etc. part of the description is not altogether clear. Remember, kids, you need to have 3 things to establish a sequence, and this one only has 2. So it's not clear if this will exclude in-combat buffs, but I have a feeling it will. Or it will not, sorry. It will not. So like, spurs or drive whatevers are still going to be kind of let in. Now, if that wasn't enough new stuff for 1 unit, Lyn also has Sakai's Blessing, which lets her hit DC units without fear of counterattack. Lightning Breath will still mess her up, but because she's got pretty good res, it's not going to be a huge issue. Stat-wise, she's going to be a great unit for those who missed out on Brydelia, but Mulagir and Sakai's Blessing is going to make her even more powerful. She's going to be, she's going to bring more to the table than Brydelia. I'd also like to talk about her C ability, which isn't kind of explicitly stated, but from the video, it appears to be an AoE debuff for attack. It has the seal attack icon, but it looks a little bit different, and it's also a C-slot ability. Now, in the video, we can see her hit Hector, but we also see Felicia get a debuff. So it suggests that this is a seal attack AoE C-slot skill. Unfortunately, attack debuffs aren't crazy useful, but this suggests that we can, look forward to AoE C-slot debuffs for speed, defense, and resistance, which will be super useful. I'm also, secretly looking forward to Smoke Dagger Cheese with an AoE seal speed ability. Now, if you thought Lyn was anti-meta, let's take a look at Ike. His unique weapon, Irvon, has the Hot Clear passive, as well as a new interaction that reduces damage from subsequent attacks by 80%. This is a huge nerf to a bunch of units, but of those units, the important ones are Olwen, Reinhardt, and Brave Bow users, which thus far have been not very well checked. So he will be incredibly tanky if he's slow, and his slowness will not matter all that much because follow-up attacks will be just tickles. If you slap distant counter on him, his unique B ability, Bjork's Blessing, he's going to destroy Reinhardt and Olwen, or at the very least survive them handily. Now, the translation of the skill was the Bjork's Blessing skill was possibly misleading, since one could take it to mean that his weapon was just generally effective against flying and cavalry, a la Rider's Bane, hammers, heavy spears, the likes, and then additionally that every foe he thought would have their bonuses nullified, but just want to clarify for people who were thinking that his ability is kind of a counterpart to Lynn's bow in that it nullifies bonuses for just flyer and cavalry, as hers does for mages. As she was an answer to Blade Tomes, Ike is going to be the answer to Horse and Fire Emblem. Finally, let's look at Great Lord Lucina, whose base kit will provide 3 attack and 6 speed to physical units within 2 tiles of her, with Gears Kirgil and Drive Speed 2. Pretty good. You know, so you could slap on Rally Attack Speed or something like that, and she will be a really good buffer or support unit. You could put Drive Attack and Rally Attack for a plus 10 attack to Brave Bow users. Is this going to be the genesis of double support comps, or will she just replace buffers entirely who have just taken a bit of a nerf with Muligir and Bjork's Blessing? She's good. She's not maybe going to be as polarizing as Lynn or Ike, but she's going to be very strong in the kind of support niche. Now that we've considered the 4 units, the question remains which unit you should select as your guaranteed free pull. There's a lot to consider. Firstly, just to get this out of the way, if you're a diehard fan of any of these units, go for them. They're all good. If you want to run Lucina Emblem, take her and have fun. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If you aren't particularly passionate about any of these 3 units, and you just want, you know, the optimal decision, then there's a lot to consider. Ike and Lynn are clearly winners on this banner, but if you take Ike and you have orbs to roll for Lynn, then you'll be wading through colorless hell, which is no fun. On the other hand, these units are likely to be neutral IVs, and a neutral IV Lynn is going to be less useful because she's going to want IVs that enable her to be a better glass cannon. So like, you know, plus attack minus HP, or plus speed minus HP, or something like that. Whereas a neutral IV Ike will probably be more serviceable since he seems to be kind of a either like kind of tanky or an all-rounder unit, and that kind of is perfectly happy to take neutral IVs. You know, another aspect to kind of keep in mind is that, like, what if you were baited by Sacred Stones and you have no orbs? What do you want to do? So my suggestions would be as follows. If you have no orbs to spend this banner, or you just know you have, like, Arthur level luck, take Ike, whose Irvine is just disgustingly good, and whose B ability covers 2 types of units, whereas, you know, Lynn only covers 1 unit, and there are other very good answers to distant counter units. If you have a moderate amount of orbs, take neutral Lynn and pull for Ike. The green pool is far more pleasant than gray. If you're a whale, I would take Lynn and then pull for Ike. That's 1 less gray 5-star unit you gotta pull to get a plus 10. And if you end up, you know, there's a lot of really good 5-star green units. So those are my thoughts, and I hope you found this review useful. Thanks for watching, and best of luck. Also consider subscribing for more Fire Emblem content.